Welcome back to Half the Battle. I'm your host as always, Daniel Levi, and joining me on this very special edition of Half the Battle is UFC bantamweight contender Jimmie Rivera. Jimmie, welcome back to Half the Battle, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me back.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. And, dude, obviously we know you're taking on Urijah Faber, UFC 203. We're going to talk all about that in just a second. But real quick, I know you saw John Lineker versus Michael McDonald the other day.
Yeah, it's a good fight.
What do you think about this kid Lineker in your weight class, man? He's a little animal.
I mean, you went against McDonald, who in his last, two fights hasn't been doing well. So it's kind of hard to say. But I mean, he went in there and pulled out the W, and it was a nice knockout. He's got some power in his punches, and he looked good.
Man, bantamweight's looking better than ever because, last time when you and I spoke, guys like Tomas Almeida and Aljamain Sterling were still undefeated. Now they've taken their first career setbacks, which just shows you how deep of a weight class 135 really is.
Yeah, it does. It shows you how, these up-and-comers are really good. They're no joke, they're tough.
Yeah, and another funny thing about it is I was looking at the rankings, and I didn't even see Jimmie Rivera's name in the top 10, which you and I both know is ridiculous because you are a top 5 guy. However, now you get the chance to put yourself among the top 10 with a win here over Faber.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. I mean, he's a well-known name. People know him, and it's going to be a good fight. I'm going to have some fun.
So where were you when you got the call, man?
It was this past Tuesday. I got a text message letting me know about the fight. I told the shopper, we see every other week, just trying to figure out, what's the next step for myself. And we were talking. And he was trying to set up the Bryan Caraway fight. He said if Bryan Caraway doesn't want to take it, I have 4 other names. And then at the top of the list, the name was Urijah Faber. I said, well, if Bryan Caraway doesn't want to take it, it's a no-brainer. I said Urijah Faber. So I texted you literally like a week and a half later, a week after UFC 200. It was like, all right, Urijah Faber to September 10th for UFC 203. I said, perfect, sounds good.
So I know you wanted to fight on that New York card, but obviously this opportunity here, that's got to trump fighting on New York card, right?
Yeah, it does. It does. It's okay that I'm not fighting New York card. I'm not going to get upset about it. I'll be there, but not fighting, just be there as a fan and support.
Yeah, it's going to be fun as a fan. So, I mean, dude, obviously we know you had the amazing fight with Pedro Munoz. You beat Yuri Alcantara. Now you got that next logical step up in competition, and it's Urijah Faber. He's a household name. You beat this guy, and everyone's going to know who you are. But it's interesting because, people are messaging you. They're saying stuff like, oh, he's on the decline. He's diminished. And it might be true, but as a fighter, you can never underestimate a guy as crafty as Faber.
Yeah, you can. You can't, because it's MMA. Anything can happen in MMA, so you don't underestimate anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I know you saw Faber's last fight versus Cruz. It's interesting because Cruz gets a lot of criticism for not finishing fights, and he actually dropped Faber in the fight, and it looked to me like he was surprised. He didn't know how to react when he had his opponent hurt. Did you notice that?
I remember him dropping him. I don't remember his facial expression.
Okay. I mean, were you surprised at all that he didn't follow up?
Yeah, you got someone hurt. You know what I mean? You need to follow up, but be smart about it. Don't just jump on top of them and then put yourself in a bad position.
Yeah, now, when Faber fought Sainz, that was an incredible fight. I mean, Frankie Sainz, that dude comes to fight, and he was inches away from pulling it off. I mean, what do you think went wrong for that dude there? Because he was so close to doing it.
For Frankie?
Yeah.
Watching that fight, if he, kept him at bay a little bit more. He got caught in that fight too, and Urijah caught him and kind of blew his load, and looked like he got a little tired after trying to knock him out. It's kind of hard. It was a close fight. They're basically the same kind of style. They both wrestlers and can strike a little bit, and for Frankie Sainz, maybe just keep him at bay more with the strikes, not letting him get the takedown.
Yeah, definitely. Now it's your turn to fight Faber. I mean, are you predicting a finish here? 3 rounds of exciting action? What do you think is going to go down when you and Faber get locked up in there?
I'm always hoping for a finish. I'm hoping to get the knockout. I guess I tell people, you never know what's going to happen, but I'm gonna go out there, push the pace, and get that W though, and focus on that win. And if I hurt him, I'm gonna try to finish him.
Yeah, now obviously this doesn't really matter, but I'm curious your opinion about it. Were you surprised that Faber was coming back so soon after that fight with Cruz?
Yeah, in a way, I wasn't sure. You don't know what's going through someone else's head and what's going on. I mean, for him to jump back in, it's great. You want to be. That's why first of all, he's Russian. He's always fighting. If you're only fighting once in a while, people are not going to recognize you. But you're always fighting one after another. People are going to realize who you are, and it's an important thing. And I think that's always been his mentality. I think whether win or lose, he's going to try to fight again as soon as possible.
Yeah, and Faber's not just always fighting, he's always fighting the top-level competition. I mean, you look at his resume, and he's been in there with everyone. He's never turned down a fight, as far as I know. And, it's always been the toughest competition. He's only lost one non-title fight, and that was to Frankie Edgar. So you looking to be the second man in UFC history to give him a non-title fight defeat?
Yes, I hope so.
Mentally, how does it go down? Because obviously you've already been there with some very tough guys. Pedro, Munoz, Yuri Alcantara, they're experienced, they're tough, but Faber's got that name value to him. You tell people who you're fighting. You tell people you're fighting Yuri Alcantara, I know who that is. I know that's a complete badass, but you tell someone else, they might not really know. You tell anyone you're fighting Faber, and they're like, oh shit, you're fighting Urijah Faber. What's that like, dude?
Everybody's close to me. It's a great opportunity to go out there and get that W. People always say he's well known, but I'm like, he's just a person. He has 2 arms, 2 legs, and bleeds the same color I bleed. I don't think anything special. You know what I mean? But at the same time, take every fight like it's a championship fight. So, we're going to go in there. I'm going to go for war. You know what I mean? You're going to have to, kill me this time, kind of thing. He's just a bigger name, and that's it. There's nothing changing. There's no other emotions. I'm like, it's good for me, and I'm happy for it. But it doesn't, mentally get to me or anything like that. Like he's the same. He's the same as I am. Right? He walks the same. Runs the same. Bleeds the same color. You know what I mean? So it's nothing from unusual.
Yeah, that's good to hear, man. And I'm really glad. Obviously, you're not underestimating him at all because you're a very smart competitor. So, man, I'm so glad they gave you that shot, dude. Because other guys might fuck it up, but I know you're the kind of guy that's gonna go in there and get it done.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, so when you talk to a guy like Sean Shelby, I mean, obviously he recognizes the talent that you possess, the talent that you recognize, that I recognize, but obviously in the rankings, like we mentioned earlier, I think you're like 12 or 13, which is a joke because you should be top 5. So when you talk to a guy like Shelby, I mean, does he tell you, look, if you win this fight, that's when you fight, the top 5 title contenders or maybe a title shot next, or what does he tell you?
It's hard because, I last time before this opponent, Uriah Faber, in Caraway, we were talking about Matsuzaki. I said, all right, let's fight Matsuzaki. I'm down, let's do it. And then Matsuzaki didn't want to take the fight. I know I've been offered a Sterling a couple of times. Sterling didn't want to take the fight. Caraway didn't want to take the fight. It gets hard sometimes. Sometimes it's hard to get fights, you know what I mean? And sometimes you get fights, and you're like, yeah, I'll do it, but I don't want to go back to Brazil, fight a Brazilian again. I'll fight him in the States or anywhere else but Brazil. And, certain things can't work out. It's crazy how it works out. We had Matsuzaki before, and Matsuzaki turned down, and then he told me about Caraway and gave me other options. I said, well, Caraway didn't take out Faber, sounds great, and call me back to taking it. And I'm like, great, let's do it. I'm like super excited. He's ranked 2. He's a great name, and I'm like, it's a win-win.
Yeah, absolutely, and we gotta respect Faber because, like we said earlier, he won't turn down any fights, man. He'll take on anyone, anytime, any place. That's
cool. That's cool. I mean, you get to a certain point. I was telling someone, you get to a point where you're top ranked, top 1 or top 2. If you get a chance to fight for the title and you don't win, you kind of got to fight the next guys coming up. You know what I mean? Until you get that title shot again. So. It's hard when you get there, but if you're like someone that's on the bottom, like I am, like 30 or 40 right now, and I need to work my way up, you know what I mean? You just want to fight those guys. And, like Caraway, I understand why he took that and turned down the fight. It's a hard fight. I wouldn't want to fight me either, and he wants to keep climbing up the rankings, and it makes sense. Matsuzaki the same way. He was a higher fight. He's fighting Cody, who's ranked higher than him, and it's a tough fight. Why fight someone that's ranked lower to you to have a tough fight? Go that way. So I don't blame him at the end. it is what it is. It's okay. You know what I mean? I understand what they're looking at. Do I want to have a tough fight and fight someone that's 14, or have a tough fight and fight someone that's 3 or 4? You know?
Yeah, absolutely. It's an interesting case with Caraway because, like you mentioned, he does like to pick and choose his fights, but he's actually really underrated, man. He's actually a good fighter, so it's kind of an interesting dynamic with him because a lot of the fans like to give him a lot of shit, but I mean, obviously you saw what he went out there and did against a guy like Sterling, who, I think Sterling's good, but I also thought he was a bit overhyped. And I picked Caraway going into that fight as a big underdog. But still, man, the dynamic with Caraway has always been interesting. Him turning down fights, but still being a very high-level fighter.
He turns down, like, hard fights. So I think he honestly turns down some hard fights. He turns down... He takes fights that he knows that he's going to be able to benefit from, and he's going to move him up. I mean, when going into that Sterling fight, I had Caraway winning, just because Caraway is a smarter fighter. You know what I mean? He's So I think the one thing he has that he's a smart fighter. Besides that, he's decent at everything. He's not great at everything, but he's decent at everything. But he's a smart fighter. Knows how to work when he's in there.
Did you see Cody Garbrandt versus Thomas Almeida?
Yes.
Holy shit! I did not expect that one either, dude.
Well, you got Thomas Almeida, who's not good at a boxer. Cody's a better boxer, and that's what happens. As a boxer versus a kickboxer. He stuck on him, he get pressure him, and he used his hands. I mean, that's, if you study fighting and you watch how they fight, that's really how it is. Look at Brad Pickett and Thomas Almeida for him. Brad Pickett, is getting to his time, but he was able to, beat him up with a hand, and he just got caught with a flying knee kick. That was it. He got caught with his head down, and, but besides that, he was winning the fight. It was a good fight. He was winning the fight.
Yeah, man, I definitely got caught up in how, Almeida comes back from taking those whoopings and, ends up knocking dudes out because he's always been defensively flawed, like you said. But sometimes when a guy overcomes that kind of adversity and goes out there and knocks his opponents out, as a fan, you look past the early damage he took. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, he came back. Even when before that, it was still close. I think it was the second round he got knocked out, Brad Pickett.
Yeah.
It was a close fight, even though. But, he got caught with a jump knee. I mean, you can't give it to Thomas Almeida. It's not, he's not the best boxer, but he's a tough kid. You know what I mean? He's a kickboxer. He's a tough kid. You know what I mean? I was kind of interested in the Cody fight because I was wondering if he was going to outbox him or was he going to take him down, try Almeida grapple, or could he stop the takedowns? Like, I was really interested on that fight because, you haven't seen all of Almeida yet. You haven't seen where he lies,
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious to see how he rebounds from that setback. Now, who you got between Cody and Mizugaki?
I got Cody, I think. I think Cody. And you know what? Mizuzaki's a good boxer, too. It's going to be an interesting fight. I think Cody is, I think he punches a little hard. He might get that W, but I don't know. It's going to be an interesting fight. They're two good boxers, so it should be interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah, definitely. Now, word on the street is you've been putting in some work with Frankie Edgar. Is there any truth to that?
I always work with Frankie. I've worked with him a couple of times before his fight. I work with Marlon, who's the World Series 135 champ. I'm going to actually shoot out next week to go to head to Munis's gym and train with him a little bit, and try to get the best work. I got great teammates, but sometimes you can go outside the box, get a little work on the outside of your team. And I've worked with Frankie numerous times already, and I worked with Marlon numerous times already.
Yeah, Marlon and Frankie are great training partners for you. And do you ever work with Mark Henry privately?
Mark Henry, no. He always gives me a little peace of mind about if I'm going against someone and like, does this fight give me a little peace of mind because Frankie fought Urijah, and I'm like, and I appreciate it. He's a really, really awesome dude, really cool guy, and he's a great coach. And I have my coaches already. I mean, I love Mark Henry. He's always there. He was like, hey, come by. You know what I mean? And he gave me some piece of advice, and it's great. And I got my coaches there as well. And it's just you get two coaches who are really good and together, and they're like, yeah, we should do this, and my other coach, yeah, do that too. And they're like, talking about stuff. It's just great. It helps more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I respect that, man. I mean, you're not afraid to take advice from other people, but you stick with the coaches that brought you up.
Yeah, it's very important to know where you came from, and some people forget about that. You know what I mean? And you gotta stick to that. If you jump to team, sometimes you don't do well. You see it about firsthand. You see a lot of people jump team to team, they don't do well because they don't have that coaching. You know, my coaches, I know my coach since I was 8 years old. You know what I mean? I've been with Tyrone since I was a kid. He knows me like, you know, like I'm another son, you know, so it's a great thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And we spoke about that family vibe you have in your corner last time you were on the show. So, I mean, dude, before we get out of here, I need a fight prediction. How's it going to go down? You and Urijah Faber, UFC 203 in Cleveland.
Either my right hand or left hand is going to hit that button. That's it. That's what I'm thinking.
Awesome, man. Well, we can't wait to see it. And Jimmie, you know, always a pleasure to talk to you. Thanks so much for coming on the show, man. Best of luck in training camp. Stay healthy and go out there and do your thing, man. Become a household name, man. It's your time, bro.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, brother. Have a great day.
You too.
Peace. There you have it, folks. Jimmie Rivera. Really cool guy, right? And man, can't wait to see him take on Faber, UFC 203 in Cleveland. You know, not bad for a guy that's 19-1, right? Finally getting that big step up in competition, that big name. And man, looking to make it 20-1. So I can't wait to see what he does. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at Jimmie Rivera 135. Now, for all the fans, thank you so much, as always, for checking out Half the Battle. You guys know I love and appreciate all your support. It means the world to me. Follow me on Twitter at BestFightPicks. Go to bestfightpicks.com and subscribe to Half the Battle on iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube. Hook up the 5-star reviews on iTunes, the likes on YouTube. I really appreciate it, guys. And until the next time, enjoy the fights.